You know that feeling, right? That intense, can't think of anything else thirst on a hot day? Or maybe a sudden, sharp muscle cramp that comes out of nowhere? Well, those are little signals from a hidden world inside of you, the absolutely incredible system of fluid and electrolyte balance. So let's dive in and explore this amazing balancing act our bodies perform every single second.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to explore our body's own internal ocean. Then, we'll meet the amazing electric minerals that give it a spark. After that, we'll look at the ultimate balancing act run by our hormones. And finally, we'll see what happens when two of the biggest players, sodium and potassium, get thrown out of whack.
All right, first up, your body's internal ocean. Now, it's so easy to think of ourselves as just, a big bag of water. But the reality? Oh, it's so much more organized and way more fascinating than that.
So check this out. A healthy adult is, on average, about 60% water. Now, if you weigh around 70 kilograms or 154 pounds, that means you're carrying around a whopping 42 liters of water. But the real question is, where is it all kept?
See, it's not all just sloshing around in one big pool. The distribution is actually pretty amazing. About 2/3 of all that water, a full 66%, is tucked away inside our trillions of cells. We call that the intracellular fluid, or ICF for short. The other third, that's on the outside of the cells in the extracellular fluid, the ECF.
And we can break that extracellular fluid down even further. You've got the fluid that's literally in between the cells, that's called interstitial fluid, and then you have the plasma, which is just the liquid part of your blood. It's this beautiful, organized system of compartments, all neatly separated by membranes.
Now, that internal ocean of ours isn't just plain old water. It's electrified. It has a spark. So let's meet the minerals that provide it, the electrolytes.
So, what in the world is an electrolyte? Well, it's actually pretty simple. They're just minerals that, when they dissolve in our body's water, carry a tiny electric charge. And that charge, that's the secret sauce. It's what allows them to power literally everything, from sending nerve signals and making our muscles contract to keeping our heart beating in that perfect, steady rhythm.
And here are the main players on the team. You've got sodium, who's kind of the king of the fluid outside the cells, controlling the overall water volume. And then there's its partner, potassium, who's the big shot inside the cells and is absolutely vital for your heart and muscles. And this separation, this inside versus outside arrangement, is fundamental to how our bodies work.
So this all brings us to the most incredible part of the whole story, the ultimate balancing act. How does your body manage all of this, automatically, without you even thinking about it? Well, it uses a seriously sophisticated and tireless control system.
The first line of defense is just brilliantly simple: thirst. Get this, when your body has lost as little as 1.5 liters of fluid, these special sensors in your brain's hypothalamus detect it and immediately send out that unmistakable signal to go get a drink. It's your body's own built-in alarm system.
But it goes way beyond that. We have some super powerful hormones running the show. Think of antidiuretic hormone, or ADH, as the water saver. It basically tells your kidneys, hey, hold on to that water, don't let it go. And then you've got aldosterone, the salt saver. It tells the kidneys to grab onto sodium, and because water loves to follow salt, it helps you hold on to water too.
The whole system that releases aldosterone is just a masterpiece of biological engineering. It starts when your kidneys sense that your blood pressure is a little low. Right away, they release an enzyme called renin. This kicks off a chain reaction that ends with aldosterone being released, which, you guessed it, saves salt and water to bring your blood pressure right back up.
And this is what the whole system looks like in action. It's a self-regulating feedback loop called the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. It's the reason your body can just automatically deal with changes in hydration or how much salt you eat, constantly making tiny adjustments to keep everything perfectly stable.
So what happens when this perfect balance gets disrupted? Let's take a look at what happens when sodium levels shift and explore the dangers when you have way too much or way too little.
On one side, you've got hyponatremia. That's low sodium. This can happen if you lose a lot of salt from, say, severe diarrhea, or if your body holds onto too much water, which dilutes the sodium you have. On the other side is hypernatremia, or high sodium. And here's the key thing that trips a lot of people up. It's usually not about eating too many salty snacks. It's almost always a water problem, a lack of water that makes the salt you already have way too concentrated.
To help clinicians and med students keep all these causes straight, especially in high-pressure situations, they often use little memory aids. A really popular one for high sodium is the mnemonic model, which helps them remember things like medications, diabetes insipidus, and excessive water loss.
Okay, let's play detective for a minute. This is a fascinating clinical puzzle. Osmolality is basically the concentration of all the stuff dissolved in your blood, and sodium is the main driver of that. So picture this. A patient is unconscious. His blood sodium level is totally normal, but his total measured osmolality is through the roof. What else could possibly be in his blood?
The answer lies in something called the osmolal gap. You see, doctors can do some math to calculate what the osmolality should be based on what's normally in the blood. If the actual measured number is way, way higher, that's a huge clue that there's an uninvited guest at the party. And in a case like this, that extra substance could very well be something like alcohol.
And finally, let's talk about potassium. Now, there's a lot less of it in our blood compared to sodium, but believe me, keeping its balance is truly a matter of life and death.
Both low potassium, hypokalemia, and high potassium, hyperkalemia, are incredibly dangerous. Low levels can be caused by things like fluid loss or certain diuretics, while high levels are often tied to kidney failure or severe tissue damage, where potassium floods out from inside the damaged cells into the bloodstream.
And again, clinicians use some really vivid mnemonics to remember the symptoms, which tells you just how serious this is. For high potassium, the mnemonic is dramatic. It's murder. And that's because it highlights things like muscle cramps and life-threatening changes on an EKG, which can actually lead to cardiac arrest.
And this is all summed up perfectly by Dr. Michael Appiah, one of our sources for this explainer. He says, the consequences of severe disturbances to plasma electrolytes are life-threatening and require immediate treatment. That really just underscores how critical this balance is in medicine.
So what's the bottom line here? It's that your body is this finely tuned hydraulic and electrical machine. Water is carefully contained in its compartments, electrolytes like sodium and potassium provide the spark, and this incredible hormonal system keeps it all in perfect balance so that your nerves, your muscles, and most importantly your heart can function exactly as they should.
Isn't that just amazing? To think that this unbelievably complex dance of water, salts, and hormones happens flawlessly every single moment of your life, completely beneath your conscious awareness. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible, incredible systems are working tirelessly to keep you alive right now?